So you guys are familiar with what a tier list video is now? Levi, you feel like you're...
I've now learned.
I don't even know what tier list is. So that was it? That's just a tier? And I'll make tier lists all day long.
Things.
Hey guys, Anthony with the Rag Company and
Levi with the Rag Company.
we are back again with another tier list.
Oh man.
This is going to be me and Levi's personal opinions on how we're going to rank these polishers within the detailing industry and how we like to use them, our experiences with them and things like that. And you may find it relatable. You may find that we are completely wrong. You may completely disagree with us. Who knows? And the thing is just to preface this, we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. We love all of these brands. We think that there's tons of fantastic detailing polishers out there. And we find that people, just like any artist, right?
Correct.
You like your own particular tool. Anyways, jumping into this with number one, Levi, what would you like to start with?
It looks like it's a very small picture.
Here, let me see if I can get the screen bigger for you. So
Okay, actually, no, he's already started dragging things.
I'm dragging it
Yeah, drag it
to
back.
show you where it is. How do we click on this? Oh, much better.
There you go, okay.
It still looks like it's a Mille.
Okay, do we have a Mille here?
Bring
Mille.
us the Mille!
which one is a Mille?
Mille me.
Uh,
This is an odd one to start with, Levi.
this isn't, well, it's just the very first one in our list, so I
Okay.
thought, why not just pull it and use it?
It's not in any particular order, but let's go ahead and break this machine down. So the Mille is a gear-driven,
Yep.
right?
Or
Technically,
known as forced rotation.
forced rotation machine that spins in one direction, and it's going to not only spin, but it's also going to oscillate.
Yeah,
or-
it
right.
follows a predetermined path always.
And it's like a star pattern. But they are powerful. It's constant power, and it's something that has a learning curve.
Well, not so much.
You don't think it has-
Technically,
what?
technically,
I think
I
it
will
has a
say
I think it has a
okay.
learning curve.
Here's the deal.
Okay.
I've been running detail shops for a long time.
Okay.
Before these tools came out, a forced rotation was known. We only had rotaries, but a forced rotation was technically the easiest polishing tool to utilize for someone who's never held a polisher. Now, that's what they say.
I don't know.
That's what they say because of the fact that it is a predetermined path always.
I think the learning curve comes from the fact that that pattern in which it travels on
Correct, yeah. I'll agree with you there.
Can feel unnatural. It's a good machine. I think that most people that have this machine are using it pretty often, and people that are usually using it are using this maybe even over a DA in certain situations or over a rotary in certain situations.
I would only, my goal for this tool is if I was running a high volume shop and I had new people coming in and I had to train them quick,
You're gonna give them this?
I'd give them that.
What are you ranking it?
I'm gonna say it's probably a B. It's a great tool, but for a beginner and somebody who is maybe doing a DIY, I don't think this is the tool for them. I don't think it's the tool that they want to get at. So I would put it at a B, maybe a C.
I'm putting it at a C, dude.
You think so?
I'm putting it at a C because
I'll go with you on the
it's
C.
a Rupes. It's a good machine. It's just personally, I am almost never reaching for this thing, and it could be because of my experience with other tools and just I'm used to other I'm used to what I like to use. I don't know. Maybe if it was cordless, right?
Oh,
maybe that might change my mind. Maybe if it got lighter. Maybe if the head here was a little bit lighter, they dropped a little bit of weight. But yeah, I'm gonna say a C.
Okay, I put it in the C pile. All right, let's go to the next one. Jimmy, bring out the Duetto.
The Duetto. That's where you're going next?
I'm gonna go to the Duetto next.
All right, so the Duetto. This is going to be, how best way to describe this is a mix between the 75 Mini and like a 15 ES.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you got a 12 millimeter throw here, right? So you're more in line with the 75, but you have a 5-inch backing plate. I think in all of our experiences, with the Duetto, we've always thrown a nice fine pad on here, like a nice Rupes white pad or Rupes yellow pad on here, and we've always finished things out. And finishing wise, it's smooth. I mean, the only other big difference here is that you're gonna have
An on and off switch.
an on and off switch, a front switch here, which some people may like, some people may not like, but it is kind of odd because you're polishing making your adjustments back here. You're trying to get around certain angles. You're kind of reaching back here around this cord while the cord's over your shoulder. If you need something for fine finishing, and this is something that you've tried and you really like, then yeah, it might be worth the money, but you don't need this.
No, it's after you've already got your main tools. So what are you thinking? C or a B? It's a really good tool. That's the thing most people don't realize is how awesome it is at finishing, how awesome it is as a tool in the Rupes lineup. However,
it doesn't have the power, dude.
People utilize it. So that's what I'm
It
saying.
doesn't have the power. I'm gonna reach for a 15 before I reach for this.
Well,
I mean, I am.
What do you want to put it as? I'm thinking a B.
I'm thinking C.
Okay.
I'm thinking C.
Why though would you think C?
Because it's not a top tier tool. That's the thing. We're here to rate. This is a tier list. We have some top tier tools on this list that are going to be top tier, 100%.
All right.
And I think that this isn't that. It's a good tool, but I think, C's get degrees.
Yeah, they do.
It's a passing machine. It's a good machine. It's a passing machine, but it's not maybe an excelling machine that we have. On the table
it's a
over
great tool. So I am hesitant to put it as a C. If I could make it go right in the middle here and be like a B, C, maybe B minus, C plus.
We're gonna stay C. I gotta fight you on that, and we're gonna stay C. Trust me, because this is gonna pay off here in the end.
All right.
All right. Next up.
Okay, here we go. Ooh, the Pixie.
Okay.
The Flex PX80, or as we like to call it, the Pixie.
This is gonna be good.
This is one of my favorites.
I'm not even gonna argue with you. This is one of my favorites, like 100%.
I think this is like one of the things that I love the most. One, it's cordless. Two, is this attachment system.
It's quick disconnect. It's amazing.
It's the best way to change between different rotations, making it go from a dual action to a rotary. You can go different sizes. You can do all kinds of stuff. And
flexible shaft,
and
man.
you can hook up the flexible shaft
Hook up the flexible shaft. This tool, honestly, dude, I think that the attachments are one thing, the size is another, the battery system is amazing, and the thing is durable as all get out. Dude, we've dropped this. I think we've dropped this so many times, and we pick it up and we keep using it.
I think it's an S. I think it's a no-brainer. It's the best of the best.
I think it's
one of our favorites, and I think we all wish we could have one of these.
See what I mean? I wanted to make room. I wanted to leave room because there's some just elite tools in here. So yeah, just an amazing machine here. The thing is
the best.
It's not loud. There's speed of 4.
Yeah.
So I think this is gonna be. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings here.
It's heavy. It's really heavy.
It is heavy. This thing's a freaking brick. But I love Milwaukee tools. So here's.
I'm not as much of a Milwaukee enthusiast as you are.
I know. So let's just be real here. Milwaukee, they make great tools in many aspects. I mean, like the nut busting torque of their impact wrenches, that 1/2-inch impact, insane.
Big fan of that.
But getting into the polishers, right? Especially getting into more of the DA, the 15, the 21 stuff. This is where I was kind of like, all right, what's this machine actually gonna feel like once it gets in your hand? And you know what? It's chunky. When we first tried this, it was actually our friend Tony Mazel who brought his Milwaukee machines down to the TRC HQ and said, hey, do you guys want to take these for a rip? And we said, yeah, let's polish with them. Let's see how they feel. And I think power-wise, they had the power. I think the rotation-wise, they had the rotation. They worked as they should, but there was just the awkward ergonomics.
Yeah.
This trigger, I hate fat triggers like this. This feels cheap to me.
The moment I turn on a tool and use it, if it's uncomfortable for me right off the bat, I don't want to use it because I know it's going to change or cause damage farther up my arms. So for me, this was just uncomfortable to use. That's why I'm not going to use it. It's uncomfortable.
I think Buff and Shines felt great with the new edge guard. I think that helped balance this machine out a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, it's got a breathable backing plate on here, so it's going to keep the pad cool. They've done some cool intricacy things here. This spins very freely.
Intricacy.
Okay, I think it's one of those where, for the people that bought them here within this last year, because they came out about a year and a half ago, I think most people are happy with them, but I think some other people are kind of like waiting. You know, are they going to get better? Is there going to be more feedback on them? Is there going to be another version of them that are maybe slimmer, a little bit less chunky?
Yeah.
So what are you thinking?
I don't care for it. I'm going to put it at a C. I think they did a good job in making the tool. You know, it's hard to make a tool. It's hard to come up and develop a tool that looks good. It looks great. It's just really heavy. I love the backing plate design. I think that's a great thing they did. But so it's a mediocre machine. I think it's a C.
I'm going to give it a B because I like Milwaukee tools.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put it as a C.
What?
Yeah, you can't
but
just
Levi,
say
but
you
Milwaukee
like
makes so many other good tools.
Yeah,
there's going to be a flop. There's going to be a flop in the mix. I'm not saying that this is a flop. I'm just saying that this isn't
tools, but this tool, the one we're rating, doesn't get to stand on the Milwaukee name fully. It just gets to stand on a buffing name. And as a buffing tool, I think it's a C. I think it's a C because it's heavy.
We're at 3 C's. 3 C's.
All right, Jimmy, bring out the Udos.
The Udos. All right. Okay.
Oh gosh, I forget how heavy this one is too.
Yes. Okay. So this is Udos V1.
Yeah.
This is not the newest, the latest and greatest, but this is going to be the original Udos that came out in, what was it?
2 or 3 years ago.
2 or 3 years ago. Yeah, we remember the very first prototypes of this. We remember when it was
a plastic.
It was literally 3D printed.
Yeah. I like the idea of it. This was the very first 4-in-1? 5-in-1? What is this? 5-in-1?
1, 2, 3, 4. 5. 5-in-1.
Yeah. This tool went from a short throw to a rotary to a medium throw to 2 long throws, 15 and 21. So it'd do an 8, a 12, a 15, and a 21, and rotary. Unheard of. So I own one. I have one of these at home. I like it for rotary.
Yeah.
I think the weight of the rotary itself, the weight plays a part.
It's actually it actually works really well for the rotary because it balances it out.
Well, and you don't have to put any pressure because you have enough weight on the pad already. However, that's where it really kind of just stops.
I think so.
The new versions have addressed some of those concerns. They've lightened the tool. They've done a lot of great modifications to it. And they are really trying to make it an actual usable tool because the idea is so good. And if you think about it, for many beginners to be able to buy a tool that has all the tools that you need in one, splendid idea.
Yeah, they did some things right. They did some things wrong, but I will give them credit, man. Their backing plates are awesome. The pads they came out with, the Udos, were awesome. Those pads are so good. I just think that, this machine, I don't know if it was ever for everybody. It was meant to be for everybody, but I think that people that bought it, there were some certain downsides of it that they weren't huge fans of. So what are you giving this thing?
I'm gonna give it a B for effort in design and ability to do stuff. I am gonna say it's closer to a C because of the fact that it is heavy. It does need more power. It is down, but it's unique.
It is,
and it sets it apart from any other type of tool. So I'm gonna go with a B.
You know what? For literally just what it's capable of doing, right?
Yeah.
I will also give it a B, and I'm going to agree with you. And I mean, and that's somebody, I don't use that machine often at all. Yeah. But again, it was the feat that they managed. They managed to make that. That's insane. So from a design perspective, I mean, it's got to be a B. So, all right. So next up on our detailing polisher tier list, what are we working with?
One of your favorites.
Ooh. Like that.
The Porter Cable 7424. Jimmy, bring it out.
The 7424 XP. Where do I begin with this thing? I've had this machine for I don't know how many years now, and I bought it because first and foremost, it's like $100.
Yeah.
Right? At the time, I want to say it was like $129. You get the kit or something like that. You get the handle with it. You get the bad backing plate. You get the big foam white pad that came with it.
6-inch backing plate on it.
6-inch backing plate, which is ridiculous. Huge. You don't want to run a 6-inch on this thing. Essentially, it's just a rattling machine. I mean, this thing rattles like crazy. Sound-wise, it's horrible.
Very loud.
It does have vibration. It's not smooth by any means, but if you can just like look past that and be like, yep, you know what it's gonna feel like when you turn it on, you know what kind of power you have, this thing can do so much. So for me, swapping to the 3-inch backing plate turned this into a beast of a machine. Dude, I've never had any issues, and this machine has done, I don't even know how many cars at this point. I don't even know how many hours. I'm on my second set of brushes, and I don't even know if there's any grease left in this thing.
If you've never polished a car or you want to get into polishing, this is the tool you buy.
Yeah.
This is what you get, because you can start learning how a dual action works. You can start learning about stall.
Yep.
You can change to a 5-inch backing plate. You can then upgrade when you actually spend the money on your next polisher.
Yep.
You can do like you did and go to a 3-inch, and now you have a dedicated 3-inch tool that is an absolute monster with 3 inches.
And that's what it comes down to. I mean, you'll use it, you'll learn on it, and then at the end of the day, you throw a 3-inch backing plate on here. You'll still get your money's worth. People will laugh at me saying this. I'm going to say this is an A-tier polisher.
I agree.
It's for what it can do and for the memories it's given me, I'm just gonna say an A-tier. I think that there's people nostalgia-wise that will agree with me on that.
Yeah, I didn't buy a Porter cable, but I bought the Harbor Freight edition of this style back in 2012. And it was great. It worked out. It did what it needed to do.
Yeah.
Until we got a Rupes.
Awesome machine. I really do like this thing.
Let's put the Ibrid.
The Ibrid, okay, all right. The toothbrush, Jimmy.
The toothbrush.
There we go. Check that, that's on rotary right there.
Very good.
So Levi, talk to me about this machine.
So I bought one of the first Ibrids in the state when they first launched.
Yep.
And we loved using it in my shop, primarily because I did a lot of classic cars.
Okay.
And I always kept running into spots where I needed a small toothbrush style polisher. And so this fit that bill. I've got it upside down.
No.
What are you doing? Great machine though. I really liked using this, especially for, we would get coating jobs and we would coat a car and then they'd get water spots on them, but they'd only have a couple water spots here and there.
Yep.
This was great for running out there and tackling a couple spots, knocking them out and getting it done because it had the power to do it. And that's one of the things I loved. It also fit my detailer's helper bag. So this machine I recommend this as probably one of your top 4 machines to buy.
Top 4, easy. I've used this for so many other things outside of polishing though. It's also
it has
hilarious.
Options to add sanding discs and brushes.
And you can just spot sand, just a little area like that.
Yeah.
Flip, switch, swap to your normal backing plate with your 1-inch pad on there with a little bit of microfiber on there. Cut that out really quick and it's like a scratch weapon.
Like the Flex Pixie with the shaft attachment, this is the same with that. It's amazing to be able to polish these very intricate spots that you used to have to do with a rotary back in the day, and like a very long wool pad and angling it and trying to get it the right way. You don't have to do that anymore. You've got these great machines. So I'm going to put this as an S-tier tool as well.
I'm going to put this as an S-tier because
it's
a must-have. I mean, I think every detailer, every crazy enthusiast, you would never regret having this on your shelf.
Yeah.
You'll never regret it. You'll get your use and you'll get your money out of it. All right, Levi. Next on our list, what do we have?
A Dewalt Rotary.
Bring us the Dewalt.
We don't have that.
Okay.
Don't have that.
Well, so a Dewalt Rotary is a rotary that is just manufactured by Dewalt. That looks great.
I don't have an example here. Maybe we'll put
I
a
have
picture
used
here.
Dewalt rotaries for the better part of 15 years. I love my Dewalt rotaries. I think they are a great tool. They are bulletproof as far as I'm concerned because I never had issues.
But you're a Dewalt guy in general though, aren't you? Or are you a Ryobi guy?
I'm a Dewalt guy.
You're a Dewalt guy, okay,
Yeah.
Gotcha.
For me, it was a tool I used and learned on.
Okay.
However, it's not for everybody. It's a heavy machine.
Yep, it's big.
It's hit me in the head before, like literally jumped on me and smacked me in the forehead.
You've seen
I've received concussions from it.
You've seen it rip out people's beards.
I've seen it rip out beards. I've seen it rip out people's headphones.
Headphones, yeah.
I've seen it tear up shirts.
Rip off full shirts, like literally
Full shirts. They're powerful machines, but I don't think they're for everybody.
Yeah.
And with the newer technology that is out there and lighter rotaries that are out there, the old Dewalt and old Makita rotaries are kind of, I'm going to say, a D-tier tool.
I honestly, I've never used a Dewalt. I also never used a Makita because I was spoiled. I started off with the Rupes rotaries, which is definitely spoiling me. So I'm gonna basically take your opinion on this. If you think it's a D tier and you don't think there's been any improvements over the last
I'm sure there has.
however many years,
There's battery options. There's probably some lighter weight, but I'm going off of the old school.
Okay. Your own.
The old rotary that I used to use.
Okay. All right.
So I'm going to say it's a D.
D. I can't really say anything, so I'm just going to say, yep. Sounds good.
Speaking of rotaries.
Okay.
The Rupes Rotary.
So this is a rotary that I have.
And I have one too. I have this one. So this is what a rotary should be. Every single thing about it, I feel, is what a rotary should be. I love the size. I love the weight of this tool.
This is a light machine.
It's much lighter.
For me, I just like picking up a bead with this thing.
You do
know
like
saying? I like just laying down a nice bead of compound, just by picking that up like a pro, and then just working it in. Really what it comes down to is this thing is just smooth.
Yeah.
Everybody that's ever tried a Rupes Rotary will say it's just a smooth machine.
Yeah.
When I'm guiding this along, I mean, I'm making this the slightest movement, right? To just let this take me
really
and let this guide me as I'm polishing. And
remember, rotary is a one-direction tool, so it only spins in a circle. So it's that, like you said, that movement. Sometimes they fight you. Sometimes they bounce around. Sometimes they're not as well balanced. But this tool, being as light as it is, as simple as it is to use, I find myself, every time I bust this out, I'm always like I'm like a little kid. I get excited when I do that. I get happy.
I would say that this is definitely up there on the list. Is it a need in nowadays? I don't know if it's like a must-have, but I would say it's definitely, A tier.
So this is a tool I own.
Yeah.
And I only own a few tools. But this is one of mine that I always have in my arsenal, and I feel like I'd be naked without it. So for me, it's an S tool. However, I do agree, I'm a different detailer than you are.
Yeah.
And so I could say an A tier, I think, is the right spot for it.
I get your S point, I do. And I think that most people most people in shops will have to have at least one rotary. Maybe everybody watching this that's on the enthusiast side as well sees this and they go, do I need a rotary? I'm telling you, you don't need a rotary. You don't need one. There's certain tools out there that will have rotary functions that will be able to get you, pretty far with what you need to do.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say A tier. Can we agree on A?
I think an A tier is the way to go with that. As much as I will say, it is one of my 4 top tools that I own. We'll go with that.
Next up, we have.
Let's go with the Griots, the Boss.
Griot's Boss, okay.
Let's bring it out.
This is a Boss without a cord.
Yes.
It's the G15.
Now this.
We asked for a G9, but I think this is all we had was a G15.
But the G15 is another one of those entry-level tools.
Yeah.
That's accessible to everybody.
I think you buy it at some certain stores.
You can buy it at some of the stores.
AutoZone, right? Certain stores you can actually go in and actually buy this tool. It's a very just easy to grab, easy to use, almost perfect powered tool that isn't going to cost you an arm and a leg.
Yeah. And I would say Griot has done a really good job of trying to make their tools not be like a copycat. And so I would say they've done their homework on these tools, and it shows. So for those of you that don't, maybe you've bought maybe a Harbor Freight or you've bought the Porter cable. If the Rupes is too much or a Flex is too much for you, you can pull the trigger on a Griot, and I think you'll have just as much fun, just as much quality and control.
Yeah.
And they do have a lifetime warranty.
They do, which is crazy. Which is also pretty crazy.
So,
I do like a couple design things that they've done here. So the backing plate here, also going to be a breathable backing plate. It's going to have the ducts inside there, which is really cool, so it's going to keep the pad cool. They also have some ducting here on the actual shroud around this housing here as well. Looks wise, it looks good. It is comfortable. It is going to have a little bit of weight to it, but again, with the training class that we did, we were throwing Lake Country pads on here. The thing did feel smooth. It did feel balanced. And again, it's an accessible machine that I think you can walk into a couple major retailers and just go and purchase this thing and get straight into machine polishing. And you can even use the Griot's professional compounds and have fantastic results.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm gonna say,
I'd put this in a B.
I'm gonna put this in a B, man.
I think it's a good little tool.
I think it's just a good tool, yeah.
Jimmy, bring out the beast.
Oh, the beast, oh no.
The Flex 3401, otherwise known as the Beast.
Where do we start with this machine?
So this is, going back to like our first tool that we were talking about, this is a forced rotation tool, meaning it follows that same
gear-driven pattern.
Yep. Always, it never deviates from it. There are a lot of detailers that swear by this tool. There's a lot of detailers that love this tool. There are a lot of detailers that this is it for them.
For me, oh man, this is gonna. I don't want to say the wrong thing here.
You're gonna ruffle some feathers.
I'm gonna ruffle some feathers. I don't like this machine. I don't like this machine at all. I think that every time I've ever grabbed it, and I think I've attempted.
It fights me.
It fights me. I don't want to fight my detailing machines.
Yeah.
This machine, every time I've grabbed it, I've always felt like I am at a battle with whatever I'm doing. I feel like my pad movement is strange. I feel like my wobbliness is at an all-time high whenever I'm using this. And we've tried some different things. I've used pad lubricants, I've changed compounds, I've done different types of pads.
We've done everything we can. And I'm gonna agree with Anthony on this 100%. This machine fights me every time I try to use it. And I've tried to give it the benefit of the doubt, and I've tried to go, no, I must be missing something. But every single time. For the folks that love this tool, they love this tool. For us who are big fans of dual action polishers, we love dual action polishers. It's just how we work. And I will say, folks that really do love this beast aren't big fans of dual action polishers, and vice versa. We've noticed there are people like that. So we're not alone. It's a good tool. Flex has great reliability. This tool is a workhorse.
It's a tank.
Everybody loves it. It never breaks down on you, and you can get them replaced. You can get them fixed. They have a great service center. So there's nothing wrong with the tool. It's just a personal use situation for us. So I'm going to put it as a B-level tool, maybe even a C. It's not for me.
It's definitely not for me, and I mean, my experience with it is literally like at a C level, really. Like I can do the work with it, I can get the job done. I'm just not having a fun time. So I think I'm gonna be stuck at C on this. I think you're gonna be at B. Knowing that I don't want my house burned down, I might go up to a B.
Okay.
Just so I don't have people with pitchforks and torches saying that I'm completely wrong and out of my mind. It's not that this tool doesn't have the power. It has all the power.
It has amazing power.
It has all the ability to correct and refine and finish. It can do all of it. It's just, it doesn't feel right in my hands.
Yeah, same with me. It's just not for me.
It's not for me.
All right, XFE15 by Flex. It might not be. It might be a 3401 in disguise.
No, this is the
XFE15. This is a dual action. Okay.
Yep.
So I actually like this tool. This is a dual action Flex, battery powered.
Yep.
Known as the XFE15. So it's a 15 millimeter dual action polisher.
Yep.
This you and I have grabbed many, many times.
Many times. I mean, we take this in the parking lot all the time.
Yeah.
We get people that come by and say, hey, I got some on my car. Can you take a look at this? Is this a scratch? Will this come out? I go, hold on, let me grab that tool really quick. Go out there, grab this bad boy, throw a pad on here, and I'm ready to rock and roll. We were kind of initially like, all right, how much power does it have? Does it have enough power?
Yeah.
Especially in comparison to some of the newer stuff that's coming out. I mean, this was one of the first, so this kind of set the baseline. And from a baseline standard, this had enough power to do almost everything that we needed to do, but we noticed that we were throwing it at that high, we were throwing it at 6 pretty often.
Yeah.
The one thing I'm not a huge fan of, the backing plate is kind of weird.
It's a tall backing plate.
It's a tall backing plate. It's got this kind of thickness to it. I feel like when I throw a thicker pad, I'm too high, and the grip here also is kind of, I get a pinky underneath there, right?
Yeah.
I get a pinky, maybe a kind of a ring finger. Weight-wise, I would say that this is still lighter than the Milwaukee, which is nice.
Yeah, it is much lighter.
But I don't think it's as powerful as the Milwaukee in general. But ergonomically, I like the thinness here. The trigger's really nice.
Yeah, nice lock.
The lock is nice. And sound-wise, it does have that higher pitch frequency, but I've been using Rupes 1521 for so long that I kind of have learned to tune that out. So I would say it's a good tool if you're looking to get into, if you're already in the Flex system and you're already invested in their batteries and you are looking for just something cordless that's going to be an on-the-fly mobile option.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty good.
I like it. I think it's a great little tool, and I think for those of you that want to get into that battery life, go for it.
Weight-wise or ergonomic-wise, I think it's still better than the Milwaukee, so I'm kind of leaning more towards B or C. What are you leaning more towards?
I'm going to put it.
You don't need it though.
You don't need it.
I don't know. I actually don't know what I want to rate this.
I'm going to say it's a B, just because it's a good tool.
We haven't had any issues with it.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like I don't
say
have
about it. So that's what I'm saying. A B is probably the best place for it.
Massive complaints other than just being an odd backing plate and kind of having a bigger head here. But I mean, I think it's pretty well weighted. It's really well balanced. Yeah, and again, it's more comfortable than Milwaukee in my opinion. So yeah, I'll say it's a B.
I like it. All right, Jimmy, I think we should do this one just to get it out of here. The Rupes 15 Mark III.
Oh, the 15 Mark III, just to get it out of here. Okay.
We like this tool. This is probably our go-to for everything.
It's just it's S tier.
It's an S tier. That's all it is. It's great. It's worth every penny. This machine is worth its weight in gold. And I had one, and it did 4,000 cars. It's amazing.
Well, you didn't have the Mark III specifically, but you had a 15,
Not a Mark
right?
III, but yeah.
Basically, the 15 Mark III. I mean, it is in my opinion, it's the creme de la creme.
Yep.
This
everything
is
it needs to be.
This is everything it needs to be, and it could be because I don't know. It's an S tier, 100%. I think that this is a needed in almost every person's shop, garage. If you can spend the money, if you have the money, and you want to get into Rupes, you wouldn't regret it.
Yeah. We've been fortunate enough to actually build our own Mark IIIs.
Mark IIs.
Or Mark IIs, and they were great. They've been a great machine. Ours are still running wonderfully, and they're a simple, easy tool, and once you get to really see what they are, it's a really nice machine. Yeah. So it's an S tier.
It's an
plain
S tier.
and simple.
It's an S tier. Plenty of power. You're gonna have all the power that you need. I mean, this tool can do so much for you. It'll pay for itself in the first detail, and it'll continue making you money.
This is my primary. I only use this on a card.
This is my money maker. People say the 34 was their money maker. This is my money maker. This is how I make my money.
Same.
And yeah, couldn't be without it.
We've only got a couple left. The Bauer that's on here is not the Bauer that we have. What I'm going to say we'll bring it out.
We're going to bring it out.
Bring out the Harbor Freight machine.
The Chicago Electric.
This is the Chicago Electric, not a Bauer. This is a copy of the Porter Cable 7424, and this is a cheaper version in that sense by almost half the price. This is a very noisy tool. And there are videos on how to grease the bearings in it to bring the noise down a little bit. But same things apply. If it's your first foray into detailing and you're looking to just get something to play with, to try, this is the best start if you can't afford a Porter Cable.
This is what basically when people say, hey, I think I want to try to buff a car.
Yeah.
And they go, I look at them, I go, you should try. Like, what do you mean try? Yeah. Like, they're like, I just want to, I think I can just try it. Okay, and they go, what should I buy? And I go, you should go to Harbor Freight. Go buy that like $50 machine. You could still find these on Facebook Marketplace for 20 bucks all day long.
Yep.
And they're gonna work. You could swap out the backing plate to a 3-inch. It could be a 3-inch monster. The biggest downside, like Levi said, is going to be the sound, and it just kind of vibrates.
Yeah. I'm gonna say it's a solid C tool.
So I'm gonna say, in general,
would you put it next to the Porter Cable in the Rotary because it's an A?
No, because it's not the Porter Cable for me. The Porter Cable is,
it's better. The Porter Cable's better.
The Porter Cable is better. So I'm gonna just say it's a D tier, just because it's really not the best. It's not. I'm gonna say D.
There you go. Jimmy, bring out the new little 3-inch Rupes HLR 75.
So we chose to feature this over the LHR 75, mainly for the fact that this is the latest and greatest, right?
Yeah, and we both have LHR 75s at home.
Yeah.
They're great tools. I recommend having one. However, now that this is available, I would switch out my LHR 75 for an HLR 75.
100%. It is awesome. It's so strange looking that you look at it, you go, that can't be comfortable or that can't be ergonomic. But then you pick it up and you use it for the first time, you switch that on, and you feel how much power this has.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It rips, dude. Like, this thing is insane.
Well, so the only thing I don't like is the switch on top here.
Okay, for the fact that it's a little
Because every time I lean
sensitive.
it over, to put some compound on, it'll
splatter you.
I do love this tool. That's the only drawback I have is this switch. That's literally it. Everything else I love about it. This is a dedicated 3-inch machine.
Yeah.
That's what this does. And this will do 90% of those jobs out there. This is, I would put as an S tier, as something you need to add to your arsenal. This is the tool to add, hands down.
I would be between an S tier and an A tier because I think that some people may not feel like they need a cordless option. But again, this is kind of the future. So
where do you want to go, S or A? I'm going to say it's an S because I think its value is shown in what it can be as a 3-inch polisher. I know it's a little expensive for some folks, but I feel like if you already have a 15 and you already have an Ibrid, having a dedicated 3-inch is exactly what you need. Those three tools, you can do everything.
Yeah, those three, you can do everything. Okay, I'll go S. I'll go S on it. All right, which brings us to our last and final polisher.
This is a hard one. I didn't get to use it at SEMA.
I did.
So I'm gonna let you talk about the new Rupes
15 Ibrid, essentially, is what it is. So this machine released at SEMA 2023. It was probably one of the hottest releases in the detailing industry for, really the SEMA show. Rupes, the booth was absolutely packed. Yeah. So this new machine, this 1521, not only is it lightweight, the thing is light, dude. It is light. It is exceptionally ergonomic. It literally has LEDs in it. It lights up blue, right? Yeah. That backing plate is
apparently it blinks when it starts to die.
Blinks when blinks when it's going to die. It's got an awesome backing plate on there that has awesome pad spin, and the thing is so freaking smooth. I go, okay, so this is almost like the perfect machine. It's lighter, it's more ergonomic, it has cooler features, it looks awesome, it's exceptionally smooth, it's quiet. I literally see no downside of it. And I go, well, what's the cost? And they hit us with the cost, and I go, okay, so it's a little costly, but it's not unrealistic.
Yeah.
But I can tell you right now that those machines, some people kind of scoffed at the price and said, oh, okay, well, it's expensive. I think they're gonna fly off the shelves. So Levi, in a recap here, we're looking at our tier list. Yeah. Is there any changes that we would like to make before we set this in stone? Let's look over this. PXE80, S tier, awesome. Ibrid Nano, S tier, yes. LHR 15 Mark III, S tier, yes. New HLR 75, S tier, yes. New Rupes 15 and 21 Ibrids, S tier, yes. We're at A tier now. I gave the Porter cable an A tier rating. People might fight me on that and say, Anthony, that's ridiculous. That is not an A tier tool. And
it is an A tier tool because it's a perfect beginner tool. Perfect for that.
And that's where I agree, but it's a nostalgia thing. But we're looking at it from like an actual, is it really that good of a tool?
Yeah, it's bulletproof.
We're gonna let it slide with the A tier. Forgive me on that one. Just know that it's coming from my heart. And then we have the Rupes Rotary at an A tier. We're gonna agree with that.
It's amazing.
And then for B tier, we have the Lake Country Udos. Yes, because we're going to give them props for literally creating that tool.
It's unique. It's very unique.
We have the
Griot Boss.
Yep, the Griot Boss. Yep, B tier. We have the Flex
3401.
3401, which
beast.
Could be in a.
So the only reason we're giving that is because there are so many of you that love that. We just don't like that machine. That's all. We just don't like using it. But hey, we're going with what we like and what we use.
Then lastly, we have the
XFE
15, which again, it's a great tool. I think that if you're already in the Flex system, you have the batteries, it makes sense. Jumping down to C, we have the Mille here. Again, it's not that it's a bad tool. It's a good tool. It's just not a necessary tool for some people. I actually like using the Mille slightly more than
the 3401.
The 3401. But could we bring up the Mille?
We could bring up the Mille.
Bring up the Mille to a B.
We could.
I think we can because I think we can. I think we can absolutely do that. The Duetto I will still keep at a C because it's not 100% necessary. I think it's a decent tool
that you're going to use all the time.
But it's not a tool you use all the time.
Yeah, and then the Milwaukee cordless 15, it's just heavy. It's just really, really heavy.
It's just heavy. I think that there's going to be people out there that are going to try to justify it and say, it's not that bad.
It's better than
I've had it. It's better than the Flex and all this stuff.
That weight wears on you.
Yeah, agreed.
So
last but not least, here we have the Dewalt here at a D category. I'm just going off of Levi's opinion on that.
And the old Bauer.
And then the old, yeah, and then the...
we're calling it, we're using the picture of a Bauer dual action, but it's actually the short throw DA that was originally a Chicago electric.
And we'll just, yeah, we're just gonna say, yeah, it's a D. It's loud, it's noisy, it'll do the job, but it's, you know, it's a D list.
It'll get you started.
So, all these machines have survived an F rating.
They have, because they all have a purpose.
They all have a purpose. Again, most machines out there are gonna get the job done. I don't think I've ever truly experienced an F tier machine that was like truly just an absolute fail.
Yeah.
Not really. I've used some machines that weren't an instant fail, but I've used some machines I disliked, but I still probably wouldn't even put them at an F tier.
Okay,
so
I can see that.
Anyways, so this has been the detailing polisher tier list. This has probably been a decently long video. Hopefully we can trim this up enough to make it exciting and make it fun to follow. We are passionate about this kind of stuff. We do have our own personal opinions. We're curious to see what your opinions are down in the comments. Is there anything that we rated that you'd like to see rated differently?
Maybe you're a 3401 fan and you're like, man, that's an S. Let me know where those guys live. Please don't.
Please don't. Please don't. Don't come after us. But as always, if you guys enjoy this kind of content, enjoy these tier list videos, please, please, please let us know down in the comments and make sure to give this video a big thumbs up. Subscribe down below for more of that premium detailing content and stay tuned for more videos right here at The Rad Company.
See ya.
See ya.